Welcome back to Let's Play Metroid Other M. I haven't had a whole lot of, really big things to discuss lately, and to be honest, I think I've discussed most of the major deals that I did want to talk about. There's really only, one or two left, and both of them are still a pretty fair time away. So until then, we just get to run around and hop off walls and have fun! Whee! There is sort of one thing I wanted to talk about, but I'll probably talk about that once we're done, and make our way over to Sector 3. So I'm just gonna gently tap this button and get this elevator moving. Now, you'll notice this is a cool thing they do. Or not so much a cool thing they do, but, interesting thing they do. Where, as soon as the enemies show up, you notice the mini-map disappear. That is their way of, honestly, of artificially lengthening the time it takes this elevator to move. Because now they can actually have this elevator move indefinitely. As long as it takes. I think you did actually see the top up there, which is interesting. I wish there weren't so many dudes around here, because I'm curious. I want to look up top of the elevator here. No, I don't want to kill both of you. I just want one of you left alive, so I can take a moment to look up the elevator. I'm just really curious, I like learning how gameplay things work. I don't see anything up there. I'm just gonna sit here and wiggle. Yeah, I guess they're just gonna gray it out so you can't really see. Oh, I missed. We there yet? Is that all of them? I heard something. Oh, dear. Sup? You can shoot a whole bunch of missiles at once. Why can't I shoot a bunch of missiles at once? Oh, dear. No, no, no. Yeah, eat it! Oh dear, oh dear. This guy is going to be a recurring guy. And honestly, he's just too quick for you to really get a lot of, to be able to really fight on par with him. He's too quick and he's too strong. So about all you can really do is wait for him to use, just a couple attacks. There we go. His eye in the center is his one major weak point. You can shoot him there every now and then, but it's rough to hit him there and get him to actually open himself up to damage there. We're going this way. He did run away though, so we're not done with him yet. We'll see more of him in the future. Okay, so there's a thing there, and it looks like a power line going towards it, but we can't see where the stuff's coming from. So, hey, another one of these. Oh, looks like we can maybe go in here, though. Yeah, there we go. Hold up. Alright, let's try that one more time. Now that the really thick black liquid is out of the way, our wave beam should be able to make its way through those. What's at the far end? Looks like one of those energy conduits, so let's power it up and get whatever this thing is next to us powered. A door! A very tiny door! You know what? Whatever gets the job done. That's actually mildly intimidating. I'm in a morph ball just on the border of outer space. That's, yeah, mildly intimidating. You know, I'm pretty sure Samus can remotely control her ship and her suit lets her breathe. I know for a fact her suit lets her breathe. You can move underwater with it on. So, like, if she got stranded in outer space like that, it probably wouldn't be too bad. She could probably just real quick go like a beep, boop, boop, bop, bop, and her ship would come over to save her. Can I go this way? I can. So they're actually going to give me this opportunity to run around and explore this area some. I know two things in here I cannot yet... I can not get that one, and I can not get that one. I feel like I can get that one, though. You know what? I'm just going to run over there real quick and see if I can. Okay, so it's in here somewhere. Oh, this is the big water room thing, where if I jump down, I'm going to get jumped by those two guys. Which I completely understand. I fought them in the one video, which was a Frankenstein video. But, you didn't have to, because this door's just open. There are just two regular enemies in this room, which is sort of terrifying. But, yeah, there's a vent right up here. Not sure why I didn't see this earlier. Back to where I was. Back in the elevator room, we're being told to go in here. Now this is where this is one minor note that I wanted to point out, if only because a lot of people have been talking about it up until now, which is how linear. Oh, I can make Samus do a thing. It's talking about how linear this game is, and yeah, it's pretty linear. In fact, I got here and I was going like, hey, you know what I want to do? I got all these new power-ups now. I want to go back to Sector 1. Door's locked. Why is the door locked? I don't know. I don't care. It's Sector 1. I've been there before. I'm going to go back. Door's locked. Can't do it. And the game does a lot of just, like, arbitrarily locking doors to make sure you go where they want you to go. And the game really doesn't start opening up until much later in the game.
Warning is now in effect in Sector 3. An irregularity has been
Pose,
confirmed
Samus.
in the
Ready.
geothermal power
Ready to
plant
go.
and the experimental simulated desert area. All staff members are asked to please evacuate immediately.
Okay, they're evacuating. Guess where I'm going? Guess I'm just the cleaning crew or something. Okay, now as far as arbitrarily locking doors go, this one is not arbitrarily locked. This one is because you actually have to go do a thing to unlock it. But then, like, why? I don't know. Wow! But the game does do a fair amount of just, like, arbitrarily locking and unlocking things. Wow, there's a lot of items back there I missed. Oh, I figured out how to get one of those items. And I also realized that I can't get it. There's so many items up there. Can I go back there? I don't think I can. I think a door is arbitrarily locked. Yeah, I got the wave beam. What? And a lot of the reason this game is as linear as it is, there's an amount of backtracking here, so I'll take this time to talk, I guess. A lot of the reason this game is as linear as it is because they are not only trying to give you the chance to run around and explore and have fun stuff like that, but they're trying to tell a story. And it's just very hard to tell a story when they give you like free reign to go everywhere and see everything. Like, stories by their very nature are very linear. You can maybe collect little bits and pieces of information as time goes on, And that can maybe tell backstory as you collect that information again. But can I build up a speed boost before I get to that? Yes, I can. But if you want to tell an active story, like if you want to tell a backstory, then that's something you can tell with bits and pieces. Heck yeah. If you want to tell a backstory, then that's something that you can do with bits and pieces of information that you discover as the game goes on. But if you want to tell an active story that's progressing as the game is progressing, there's not really much option but to tell it in a very linear way. Who as that may be. Especially for something like a frickin' Metroid game, which, you again? Oh, I still can't hit you. Still can't hit you. Still missing entirely. I think it's cool and all that you like sliding around and having fun and stuff, but I'd also really... God dang it. I had a charge, man! What happened to my charge? Freaking missile. I'll open up his head eventually. Ah! I couldn't see him! God dang, I know after he poos out babies, his head's exposed. God dang it. Nope, missiles don't work. You know, it'd be super cool if you did anything that let me hurt you. Like, I don't have all day, guys. I'm waiting. I was waiting. I was waiting. Freaking worm. Okay, so you're going to this control panel. So you can unlock that door. Now, admittedly, as linear as this game is, there is still an amount of, like, leaving you to figure out what to do and how to get places. And that even goes to, like, this. Like, I wouldn't have thought to go back here. Or, like, we weren't told to come back here. I suppose the difference is that we didn't have... we didn't have much option but to come back here, so I guess there's that. Which isn't the best thing in the world. Man, I was really scared I wasn't going to build up enough of a boost. I like that the Shine Spark doesn't take up energy to use. Like, it doesn't kill me to use it. That's kinda nice. The game is pretty linear, though, and it's... The reason... Ooh, I'm going the wrong way. The reason it's so linear is because it's more story-based. And it's more story-based, well, because they had a story they wanted to tell, but to be honest, I think that's one of the biggest issues, is a lot of people just don't want that much story. They want maybe a little bit of lore, a little bit of stuff like what Metroid Prime did, maybe, but they don't want, like, an active story. Because you're not going to get an active story like that in a Metroid game. People want to run around and explore and do things on their own. And some of that also goes to the more Japanese mentality in games, which is that... God damn, I didn't see you through the lava. Ah! Are you a second one? Which is that in general, Japanese culture, the people in Japan, the Japanese market, I guess you should say, wants more linear games. Like, the Metroid games generally don't do so well. The earlier Metroid games generally didn't do so well over there because they didn't like how open-ended and unsure of what to do or where to go. And that's actually why even before this game, the Metroid games have been getting more and more and more linear. There's a navigation room coming up. Ah! Ow. And some of it is the feel as well, which admittedly this game did not handle the feel of that very well. But something like Metroid Prime was actually reasonably linear. In fact, there was a way to sequence break the game, and they actually patched that in later editions of the game, so you could no longer sequence break it. But then stuff like Fusion, Zero Mission, even Prime 3 was super linear. They kind of are. And it's sad, but honestly, even if you go back to, like, Super Metroid, we can sequence break it, but the sequence breaks weren't, like, inherently intentional. That's more like, hey, we've figured out that if you do this one thing just right, you can mockball past this. So, there is that. And so, like, whether or not it's actually linear is a different issue. I feel like the bigger issue is this game, unlike many of the other games, like Prime and Zero Mission, especially, unlike those games, this game feels very linear. It feels like you're being shoehorned. Oh, Anthony! Oh, we gotta get up there! Now, I'll just say real quick, you've been in this room before. We've been in this room before. We've looked around in this room before. We know what's in this room before. When we're thinking of ways to get up there, where he is, the one place we're not going to look is the one place where we know something is that will not help us. And that is this.
Samus, use of the grapple beam is authorized. Get to Anthony and cover him.
Okay, so technically it wasn't activated on the screen, but we got a freaking grappling beam! And we have Anthony's support! Can't really fire the plasma beam while he's here, because it does take way too long to charge up. But this freaking guy again, man. Hold up! Shoot him in the eye! Oh heck, we blew his fangs off, man! You know what? Blowing his things off is actually a pretty good way for us to be able to potentially jump on his head now. I know I jumped on his head before and he always shook me off. Actually, it doesn't look like he's gonna let me. Doesn't matter, I'll just shoot him instead. Man, get down! And there's the grapple beam.
Whew. That was ugly. Thanks, Princess. So, you get called out here too?
Called?
Commander gave us a new directive to move as a unit. Our gather point was a navigation booth near here, but when no one showed, I figured I'd just take a look around. That's when I got jumped by those things you just saw.
What was your unit directive? I'm tracking that monster.
We were heading to the geothermal power plant to open the magma eruption port. Gotta restore the power in this place, so I can see that pretty face of yours. Yeah, it seemed a little excessive to send the whole unit to do it, but he's the commander. He must have had a reason. So Samus, how you feeling about the commander, huh?
Ian has arrived at the drive unit.
Ian, be careful out there. I know this is a routine fix, but don't let your guard down. There were 300 people on board. Their lives are in your hands.
Roger that.
Commander! The drive unit's going critical!
The unit is overheating beyond our estimates, sir.
Ian!
Commander Malkovich, unit meltdown imminent. It's going to explode.
Prepare to disengage the drive unit immediately.
But Ian's still inside!
Adam, I can reach him. Give me the order, please.
Lock and secure the shielding doors now.
Adam, wait! There's still time. I can make it. Please let me go. I mean, that's Ian. That's your little brother out there.
We're out of time, sir.
Adam, please let me go. You have to trust me. Just give me a chance.
Commence drive unit disposal immediately. That's an order.
Adam was right. If we had waited any longer, it would have meant the end of those we had come to rescue, and the end of us as well. I knew that, but...
At the very least, you wouldn't be standing here now. That's what the commander was most scared of.
I was childish. No one should have to make the choice that Adam did, and yet all I could do was question his authority and make things more difficult.
Hey, you were just a pup then, and the commander knows it. Look, forget it. Sorry for hitting a nerve. We better get going anyhow. Man, if something like that happened now? Huh. Best just forget about it. I'm out.
I knew the question Anthony was suppressing, and I knew the answer. If something like that happened again, I would hold fast to that glimmer of hope and try for redemption. That's who I am.
Right there, where she said, "That's who I am," is one of my... In a game riddled with, like, kind of a really crappy characterization of Samus, due to how the voice acting was directed, the translation, writing, whatever you want to tag it on, due to all of that, that line is my favorite line of hers. Because it's one of the very few lines in this game where, even without expressing it with like a variety of tone, she expressed personality and emotion. And it made me feel like she was actually a character that I cared about. And I liked that. That, though, which... Of course, on one hand, you could think, well, Anthony didn't really bring that up, so Samus, why are you bringing that crap up? Honestly, Anthony kind of brought that up. Because that was the reason that Samus left the Galactic Federation. It was seeing that she realized she just did not like the idea of following orders. She didn't like the military mindset. She wanted to go it her own way and run things herself. That was the major defining thing as to why she left. And given that, that was really the last major interaction that her and Adam had which in turn Anthony sort of knows that, like, hey, so after this thing that happened, how you feeling? So there's that. On the note of the linearity, though, some of the major things that make this game feel much more linear than other games, even if it's not necessarily more linear than other games, is, first of all, the arbitrary locking off of a number of doors will do it. Just like, why can't I go in here? It's red. Then I come back in later on, it's green. And I'm running through here again, it's red again. Why is it red? I was in here before and I could go through there before. What the crap? And that, which I actually touched on, the blocking off of areas you've already been to. I want to explore. I want to look at all of this crap. I want to go back to Sector 1 and look at all this stuff. I want to go back in here. There's so much crap in here that I know I can get now. Get all these dots that I'm just so frickin' confident I can do something about. And they won't let me. Really, you're going to be missing a lot of things. They're blocking stuff off, not only so you are a little more forced to go where you want to go, but for story purposes. And that's where, again, adding as much story as they did to this game, I feel, is what made it as linear as it is, and isn't exactly what a lot of people were looking for in a Metroid game. Now, don't get me wrong, I actually rather like the idea of putting story in a Metroid game. I like the idea of putting story in this game, but I do feel like they tried to do way too much in here. And that's where they're trying to handle the idea of the bottle ship and the illegal weaponizing, or the illegal bioweapon creating. They're trying to deal with the cover-up, with the deleter running around, trying to kill everybody. They're dealing with so much story about Samus and her backstory with Adam, as well as her emotions about the baby Metroid and all of that. They're trying to do way too much. And if they scaled that back and focused on like one or two aspects of this whole thing, I feel like they could make a much more coherent story, a much more focused, understood story, and not force you to be so pigeonholed into going exactly where they want you to go, because for some plot-related reason they can't have you go in this other direction right now. Because honestly, this is a Metroid game. Even if maybe the advancement is linear, we still want to explore. We want to backtrack, we want to go where we've been, we want to get those things that we know we can get. And we don't want a red door between us and where we've been. Until next time, everyone, we've still got a pretty hefty place left to go. We're making our way to this navigation room, but there's still an amount before us. Until next time, everyone.